Thank you. Because several folks asked me last time, "Oh, do you have the recording?" And I'm like, I forgot. So thanks for reminding me, and we're recording. So let's get started. It's 5:31. Thanks everyone again for making November's youth service meeting. I know it's the week of Thanksgiving, so try to keep this short and simple, but hopefully everyone has the agenda in front of them. And if you don't, feel free to let me know or let someone know, and they'll be able to send you the agenda. But as we do in every agenda, I'd like to start off with just the administrative items here, making sure that all of your advisor information is up to date in Rotary Central and ri.com or ri.org. Everyone hopefully has done that because I've been saying it every meeting. So if if you have any issues with getting the background information or the advisor information updated on Rotary International, let me know and we can help you there. I know some folks have been asking, like, who has the updated list for all the active Interact clubs out there in the state. It's available to any of us as kind of Interact advisors, or at least those who are listed as Interact advisors on Rotary's website. If anybody needs the list up to date, please let me know. I know a couple of clubs, I think, recertified or updated or changed to different sponsoring clubs. I'm happy to provide the list to date as needed, but it is updated relatively regularly on Rotary Club Central. We have Peter Evans on the line, our youth protection officer. And I know we've talked about youth protection, we've talked about background checks. Peter, do you have anything to update anyone here with youth protection items for this year?
Yeah, well, one item in particular. So nothing has changed as far as background checks are concerned, but one thing in particular that seems to get a lot of buzz right now is our electronic and online safety considerations. And so one of the things that I needed to do was reach out to our sorry, I'm kind of navigating here. Let me see. I actually had a contact with youth protection over at Rotary International. That was James Dittrich, but he's no longer there anymore. So I got a new contact, Jessica Borrego. Asked her, there's really nothing out there right now as far as background checks on Zoom, any type of Zoom requirements or background checks for when we do our Zoom meetings. One thing that I've mentioned to her was, whether or not it makes sense to implement a best practice, such as having the host of the Zoom background checked, and she agreed. She said that's actually a better idea because when you start recording people, or when you start recording the sessions, such as this right now, we are recording. We have to make sure that that recording isn't disseminated out to the public or to people that we don't know. So we want to keep control of that. So having someone, the host, so let's say, for instance, we're doing HRYF Youth Foundation scholarship interviews. We can have the host record and that person be background checked. Other than that, there's no requirement to have people in that Zoom meeting background checked. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. I think that's an interesting kind of concept about not sharing the recording. I think, especially when there's youth on, I definitely do agree with that. I think particularly because youth don't have the chance to acknowledge that it's being recorded and then, allow someone else to send out that recording to someone. So that is a good component. And I think that's something that I know I need to consider for future events with the district, because for example, coming up, we're going to be doing some workshops with students for college, say, college prep or something like that. And if there's youth present and we choose to record it, maybe we do need to have the students acknowledge somehow through their attendance, and the parents if they're minor children, acknowledge that it's being that the event can be recorded and will be recorded and maybe shared for whatever purposes. So something to be aware of. I think if it's just adults, then obviously I think they have the chance to acknowledge that message that pops up at the beginning of the meeting saying something is being recorded, right? So that would be kind of my 2 cents on that. But I don't know if it sounded like you wanted to say something.
No, absolutely. When you take a look at media right now, and for some, this is, I guess we've been doing this for a couple of years right now, or at least a year consistently. We're still finding ourselves in uncharted waters. So when we take a look at something like media, recording, like virtual meetings, we have to kind of use the same method that we use when we are taking pictures, when we're using photos, personal information. So unfortunately, there's not real definitive guidance. Jessica Borrego did actually send me something regarding virtual exchanges and online safety. It doesn't give you a specific do and don'ts. It just gives you recommendations. But I can definitely share that with the group. I'd love to do some sort of training session or some kind of half-hour session specifically on this subject. But it really talks about ensuring communication is appropriate and transparent. It talks about outlining specific times, like maybe not having an online session with youth in the late evenings, and having it if you're doing it on a Saturday, maybe having it on a Saturday in the morning. It talks about adults or peer mentors should not maintain private social media connections with youth. So these are things that they're not so much best practices, but kind of just some good rules to live by. There's nothing here that's really mandated as far as Rotary International, but it gives us good guidance on where we want to be, and so to protect ourselves, our branding, and most importantly, protecting our youth. So I want to share this with the group. It's a couple pages long, and I'll make sure I get that out to you folks.
And I know, for example, RILA, which is going to go all virtual this year, they do a very good job of making sure the parents are aware as well as the students are aware of their online virtual conduct. So, Brian, I don't know if you want to share anything about that, but I know that was a hot topic, and they navigated it this past year and will continue to do it this year.
I did put in the chat.
Brian, you're a little soft. I can't hear you.
So I put in the chat that the standard for RILA.
Is it just me, or is Brian still hard to hear?
Yeah, he's soft.
All right, he said he put in the chat is what I heard. So he will put it back in the chat. All right. So again, I think we're gonna, just continue to be diligent about it. But I guess any questions for Peter before we move on, or Peter, anything else for you? Go ahead, Susan.
By the same token, can there be something that also where the students have to agree not to record? Because I'm recording right now, but you can't see my camera recording the screen. And that's what the kids do when they're on social media or when they're on G-Meets. If they see someone they like or want to get to know, or just see somebody with their name, they can start taking pictures or recording. But if you're holding your camera at a certain angle, nobody can see it who is on the screen, but they're recording the whole screen. So maybe we have them agree on whatever form they sign also that they cannot record.
Yeah,
absolutely. Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
No, I think that, absolutely. I don't know if that'll ever prevent someone from doing it, but I think we can at least have them acknowledge. Go ahead, Peter.
No, I agree with you, Ryan. I think, and Susan, thank you for bringing that up. It's one of those things where you would have to put some kind of verbiage on a disclosure, maybe to the point of, media not to be released or some sort of disclosure on there. But can it be enforced? You know, I don't know if it can, something like that could be enforced, but we certainly can it would be a good idea to put the verbiage on a disclosure at least.
I think,
Peter and Ryan, Peter and Ryan, I don't know if the Zoom has that feature, but is there a way to not allow private chats when we have youths on the Zoom call?
yep, you
There
can
is-
disable chats as well. So that's
Okay.
also a good practice, you know, especially, you know, particularly if you have a lot of youth on. If you're trying to moderate this, you know, that's a good idea to try to disable some of those chats, those private chats.
Yeah, I think if we keep the private chats off, then that's a big step towards being safer.
So I think in general, though, you know, I don't, we're not, Peter, please chime in if you disagree with me here, but we're not trying to make this too difficult and too restrictive or too prohibiting to anyone. We just want to share some of these best practices. At this point, you know, I don't think we have a ton of youth on all of our Zooms, but, you know, the programs that do, like RILA or HRYF, definitely will have their own disclaimers and their own forms that get approved and signed and acknowledged by the parents. So these, you know, I think would apply to, you know, similar things to, like I was alluding to earlier, our college webinars or our Toastmaster webinars, things like that, where we're going to want to start to implement some of these other protections in place once we start to host more virtual settings for these youth. And, you know, if you have any club meetings where you do have youth attending, you know, like Peter says, it would be good if your host at least has the background check. I don't think we have a requirement at this point for the district, but if your host has the background check and can kind of moderate and block any random things occurring or, you know, weird things occurring with any of your meetings, that's always a good start. So.
But thank you so much for the time. Anyone has any questions, please let me know. But yeah, wish
Yeah,
everyone the best of luck.
Any questions for Peter while we have him? I know we could spend all day on youth protection, so Peter will schedule some trainings coming up, but any other questions? All right, let's move on then. Moving on to just Interact Rotaract Club updates. Anybody, you know, I always try to save 5 minutes or so or 10 minutes or so for folks to share things that other Interact clubs or Rotaract clubs are doing to help maybe spark the ideas or generate ideas for other clubs out there in the district. Anyone want to share any success stories or challenges from their Interact clubs or Rotaract clubs? Jen, I see your hand up.
Yeah, our Interact Club is going to be doing holiday, helping Salvation Army and getting things together and putting them in bags for the elderly. Apparently, there's a need for them to have supplies. They're also going to get involved in the bell ringing. And they're excited. They finally feel that they can get out there and do little things that makes them to be an outstanding club among the clubs that are not hardly doing any activities. So they are ready to go and raring to go. So very
Great.
good.
That's Waiakea, right?
Waiakea High Interact, yes.
Awesome.
And then I don't know if Gail wanted to add anything, but I think that's it. Maybe not.
All right. Anyone else? Interactors, Rotaractors? Brian, you're off mute. No.
No, I've got better. Well, I'm off mute on Zoom, but I've got better audio now. I hope. I was
Okay.
muted on my phone.
Was anyone able to involve their Interact Club or Rotaract Club in the First Responders Project? Dick?
Yeah, we had 3 of our Interact clubs do 2 large posters each for the Polybomi Center. And there were 548 nurses and nurses aides. Give them thank you card and $10 jumbo juice card. Each card was individualized by a 3rd grader we had 604 third graders in fall school, and gave them all cards and they drew a note messages in there. So every card was personalized by youth, and we just gave it to the hospital on Thursday. So a
Awesome.
total of 630 kids were involved.
Woo. Great.
Ryan,
Alan, yeah,
Ryan, one of the Rotary clubs, Interact clubs also did a whole bunch of us for our group, and I can't for the life of me remember which one it is. But they wrote out about 350 cards, so we stuffed the baskets with that. So I thought that was really nice of them. So
awesome, awesome.
Yeah. that was good.
And Roosevelt's Interact Club did about 40 very, very high quality cards, like very well made cards. They're cards you would sell at a craft fair. And gave it to the Queens Medical Center's emergency department too. So awesome. Any other things going on? So I know just to report for Roosevelt's Interact Club is doing a toy wrapping project this week for Family Programs Hawaii. So they're going to be wrapping toys for foster families and their children. And they also joined us at our version of Rotarians Give Thanks Day over at Heia State Park and the fish pond over at Kaneohe side. So was able to get about 15 interactors out in the mud in the fish pond doing invasive plants pulling. So they're excited to get out there. Hopefully, even though I think most folks are wrapping up their first responders project, that doesn't mean that we can't do that in the future again, or for clubs that did not participate or get youth to participate in it to have the opportunity to do so in the future again. So I know a lot of legwork went into that from Sandy's district leadership planning team. Sandy, do you want to say anything about the project?
No, it was just totally amazing how within 6 weeks, Rotary mobilized across the state, adopted all of the hospitals. There's partnerships between clubs with an amazing number of organizations. And I think this is just the beginning of establishing a lot of new relationships that we will have in the future with community organizations, in particular in the healthcare field. And I just want to say mahalo. The response was beyond what we had imagined, and especially the Keiki message mahalos. Wow, those were so touching. It just really touches my heart. And I think all of us, right, when we see how people in Rotary and we all respond. So mahalo, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Sandy. All right. Anyone else? Open mic for the last minute here.
Ryan, HBA
Yeah.
Interact is doing the marathon, and there is, I think, 3 other Rotary clubs that will be helping, will be partnering with us and with Ala Moana Rotary to also do the marathon.
Woo. Early, is that at the early morning, 4 in the morning one? Awesome, have
Yeah,
fun.
our station is 4 in the morning till about 2 in the afternoon.
I did that project when I was in high school and I loved waking up that early. I know now as an advisor, I would hate it, but when I was younger, I liked it. So it's a great project for them to do.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Let's move on then to some of the programs coming up, and I have some things to report and some things that I'm still waiting to move forward with. So the Rotary and Toastmasters webinar, I will definitely be getting the folks that said they were interested in helping me out for that project to get together to do some Toastmasters presentations in this upcoming semester. But I don't have anything new to report on that one, but I do have something new to report on the College and Career Readiness webinars program. And so thanks to the help of Sandy with her connections, we have several great folks from UH's admissions office and financial aid office willing to help us with presentations this spring. And I was hoping to get that kind of together, and now I will get the full committee that, for all of you who have expressed interest to helping plan this event, I'll get everyone together so we can brainstorm ideas for what those presentations will entail. It is a little late this year. We did them a little earlier last year, so we did them in October. So a lot of this was like, how do we make this relevant to the students now that the first semester is already over? And so there was a lot of thoughts into that. And now what between UH and kind of our initial brainstorming ideas had planned is we're going to focus more on like kind of personal finance literacy for our seniors as kind of a first step. Like, so when they go off to college, what should they think about in terms of like personal finances and like preparing for college in that way. And then we're gonna do a application type of common application or some sort of just any general application for our sophomores and juniors in probably February or March. And then we'll do another financial aid presentation that is more about FAFSA and scholarships for our sophomores and juniors in probably April. So we're looking at like 3 of them. The first one will hopefully touch seniors and we'll maybe try to get the Rotaract involved, our UH Rotaract involved in that one to help them just kind of understand like some of the things they should learn from a personal finance perspective. And then later in the spring, the February, March one or the April one will be more geared to our sophomores and juniors, focused in specifically on applications and financial aid. So that's the schedule for this year. I know it's a little, we're a little behind, but we'll make it up. And I think we'll still have something that's very useful for the students. In fact, I think in many ways a little bit more timely because as they are still in their sophomore, junior year, they still have time versus when they're in their fall senior year, they really don't have a lot of time for stuff in general. So they should have been doing it anyway. So that's kind of the goal. But again, the program is up for discussion and modification, and I'll include anyone. And I have a list, so you don't have to sign up twice if you already signed up. But I have a list of folks that were interested in helping get these presentations together. But the goal would be to get these presentations out virtually to anyone, any sophomore, junior, senior statewide. And I know a lot of the private schools already have their college prep kind of college counseling programs. So I know a lot of the private school kids don't always apply, but the public school ones, they, you know, the folks over at public schools have let me know that even though they have their own college offices, they're just happy for the support to reach the students in any way possible. So we're gonna get that going and we're gonna meet soon to discuss the first January presentation. But I guess anybody have any questions on that? And does anybody who hasn't signed up want to sign up so I can include you in the steering committee meeting for that?
Ryan, the scholarship, the community scholarship season is about to kick up a little more. It usually starts off early in the second semester. There's some scholarships that start running in the fall, but a lot of them start in the spring. So if you can get a scholarship tips type of, you know, seminar for the kids now or in next month, that would help. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think that was definitely part of the discussion, and thanks for bringing that up because HRYF is obviously getting into gear. They're midway through, but other ones are just starting as well. So we were thinking that this first January presentation, while it might talk on personal finances as well, you know, we're definitely going to do all of our shout outs for HRYF, and then we're also going to, you know, have opportunity to discuss scholarships in general. So I think we could definitely do that in January. All right, anyone have any questions on that? Want to join? Put it in the chat. All right, so if you've signed up or let me know that you've had interest in this before, I will reach out to you to get you started or get us started here on just planning out some of the details. I do want to select a few dates. I want to select some times, and I want to come up with a good program that we can give our supporters at UH some idea to how they would help us. So thank you all for that. All right, I have on here our young professionals group. Tiara or Naomi, any update from our young professionals group? I know there was a plan to have a December event.
Hey Ryan, yes, I don't have any updates currently, but let me reach back out to the group and see if December is a good time. I know with the holidays, everybody's kind of traveling and everyone kind of has their own schedule. Maybe December wouldn't be the best time, but if we could regroup come January for like a New Year's kickoff, let me see if that's of interest to everybody else.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. I know we're all really busy. All right, Jeff, you're up. Are there any updates here for HRYF? I know there was a couple of trainings already, or one training in November. What can you tell us about HRYF? You're still on mute.
This was a lip reading check. Anyway, we did have a successful training on November 6th. We had 30 participants. The training went really well. Had a lot of good questions, and I think we're pretty good on how to process the applications. In that regard, all the schools in the state were notified on November 1st of the availability of the scholarships. And thanks to Naomi's expertise and assistance, we will be launching Club Runner. HOF will be launching their Club Runner site, going off the website, which will save us a lot of money and make it more accessible to Rotarians who are used to Club Runner. And I think it'll assist the students in gaining access also. And Pete has graciously agreed to give us our January 15th youth protection training. It'll be Saturday the 15th at 9 o'clock. It'll be a Zoom. Now we'll get the information on that. So thank you very much, Pete. And what else do I have? I think that's about it. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, the alumni. We still haven't had any responses from the alumni. We sent out an email to the alumni. No responses yet. We're going to send out a reminder by December 10th. That'll be about for the event if there's enough participation and interest to run it. So
when was that date?
December 18th. It's a Saturday. Yeah, 10 to
yeah. December 18th. All right. Let me know. Yeah, if there's anything that we can help with. I thought, maybe even the Rotaractors would help, with some alumni event too. So,
right. Yeah,
let me know if you do get more interest from any of the alumni.
Will do. Thanks, Ryan. That's all I have.
Thanks. Any questions for Jeff on HRYF?
Yes, this is from Elida from Rotary Club of Volcano. Are the applications at the high schools now?
Yes, they should be. And the reason we're sending to the high schools and also to Rotarians is because we're transitioning from our website to the Club Runner, and we haven't gotten them up on the Club Runner. Hopefully before the end of the month, this month here, the Club Runner will be up and running and the applications will be available for the students to download.
Did the applications go to the principals or were they sent to the advisors?
Go to the advisors.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I asked again. The applications in the past, my understanding is they went directly to the school and then the students would then complete them and send them to the representative they wish to for the Rotary Club. But I don't know anything about the Club Runner and I'm not sure, what this is going to be for the kids. Because remember, we're working with some very rural schools here.
Right.
And some have very little interact abilities.
Right.
So I guess when I'm looking, so I don't understand that there have been some changes made. I'm been the advisor and the scholarship person for about 5 years. And I'm just concerned about that.
As far as I know, the students had the ability to go on the website, our HRYF website, to go ahead and download the applications if they're interested in participating. But we'll go ahead and make sure that either we send the applications, well, we'll send them both to the school and to the each Rotary Club, so they have the HRYF rep, so they'll have a copy of it. So we'll try to get it out there as many different ways as possible.
Well, thank you. That'll really help because I've received nothing and I've been kind of worried about it, especially for our rural schools.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Gloria, you have a question.
Yes, Jeff, you had one training already on November 6th. Did you or will you have another training for students?
In what regard?
Regarding the application for the financial aid or scholarship, sorry.
No, their counselors helping with that. Yeah,
I don't think we've ever done training specifically for the students. This training's for the club's representation to representatives.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gloria.
All right, any other questions for Jeff and HRYF? And Jeff just put the HRYF website there in.
Well, no, that was actually me that put that in there because I was
Oh,
pointing out to Jeff
there.
that the that website has the application for 2020. So
Yeah.
whoever has the ability to update that should probably update it to the 2021.
That's one of the problems we're having with our current webmaster. We submitted the updated copy. That's why we want to get the club runner up running quickly so we can get that taken care of.
Jeff, if I could make a suggestion that you said that the HRYF scholarship went to the Interact advisors for each club.
No, it goes to we're going to send it out to club reps.
Club reps, not, so the HRYF process has a process to identify your club's rep who is responsible for the HRYF process. It does not necessarily mean that that's the Interact advisor.
Okay, and who does that club rep give the application information to at the schools?
Probably the counselors.
Okay. Yeah, so if the counselors have it, then all the senior class will know about it. But if
Yes.
it goes elsewhere or if the principal has it, usually they send it to their college counseling office.
Yes.
But if it goes anywhere else, there's no guarantee it'll reach the counselors and they have the ability to e-blast it to all the whole senior class.
Yeah. I don't think we have any information for the school principal, their email addresses. So we do have it for the counselors.
Oh.
So what I've done in the past as functioning as our HRYF club's rep is I've emailed it to my club advisors at the school and kindly asked them to send it to their college counseling office and share it with the rest of the school. Even though, we love the interactors applying, it really is open to anyone in school. So, and they've always obliged. So that's one way to get it to your schools, at least in your area.
And Susan, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
We do have a process improvement committee. If anybody is interested in sending ways to improve the program, we welcome the suggestions. And this would probably be a good suggestion to find a better way of getting the applications to the students, maybe through the principal, and how we can go about affecting that. So anybody here is open to anybody. If you have any suggestions on improving the program, we would be more than welcome to receive them and then put it through the process improvement committee.
Hi, my name is Gail. I assist Jen Tanoy at the Rotary Club of Hilo. I do have a question. So where is the current application and how is it accessible right now? Because I've had students checking in on the website and, for months now looking for it.
Well,
yeah, so
it didn't go out until January 1st. November 1st. So they were able to access it then. But now, because we're in between transitioning from the website to the Club Runner site, it's not available. That's why we're trying to get the Club Runner site up quickly and getting the applications out to the schools and to the reps.
Okay, so Jeff, the applications are on the district website. If people want to go to district website, it's always been on both sides. So
Okay.
just go to the right-hand side where it says scholarship, click on that. The apps are in there. And I think, Ryan, when you send out the information for today's meeting, the recording link, maybe we can send the application to them as well in that email.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Naomi.
And I will send it to Keith Ayashi, who I got to know personally. So at least maybe it'll go to the DOE. But again, it's open to anyone. So, folks that do work closely with Interact clubs and private schools, please get the word out. That, like Brian said, it's always, the hardest part is finding the ways to get it to the people that are interested in it. And it just it relies as much as it does on HRYF as it does on us to spread the word. So Gloria, yes.
Brian, when you send that application out, I don't know if they have it there on the application, but a one-pager on significant dates, like it begins now, it's due whenever, so that when we advise the schools, then we can use that one-pager as well.
Jeff, that's usually part of the application.
Yeah,
I believe.
exactly.
Yep.
When we send out the information to the clubs, they get a package with all the information in there with the due dates and everything else. So you should have a copy. If not, just let the HRYF headquarters know. And just let you guys know, last year we had about 265 applications. And and I have to keep stressing this. You won't get anything until the last week. So don't start freaking out if you don't get any application until the last week before the due date, because that's Hawaiian style.
That is very Hawaiian style. And so that, for having done this for the last 8 years myself, they'll come in at the last date.
Okay,
But
so Jeff, how can I get a packet? I'm at IPA and I have not gotten a packet. Can I get it from you?
Yeah. I'll put my email address in the chat.
yeah, why don't you put your email address, and then Naomi, I think everything is, again, it's been uploaded to the district website as well, right? So I will send out
I put
the application.
I put the link to the scholarship page in the chat.
Thank you.
Brian is my
There's a
IT
calendar
support.
of events there, calendar of dates. The packet.
All right,
Well, I don't know if the full packet, but there's an application link there as well.
Thanks, Brian. I am gonna keep moving because it's 6:08.
Sorry.
So any more questions? Yeah, Naomi.
Sorry, I got a reminder for everybody, where some clubs have a lot of apps and some clubs don't have a lot. We've been in a habit of sharing apps. And so wanna make sure that people know that you cannot, because it's got a lot of confidential information. You should not share it with another club unless you have the person's, the parents and the students okay to do that.
Yes, and we did that during the training. Nothing happens with those applications from one club to another unless they get the parents okay to do that, because of PII, of course.
Important, very important, because I know some clubs don't get a lot of applications and ask to be shared other applications, but you need permission. Thank you. All right, Ryla team, what you want to share for us today? I'm looking at Brian / Jen.
So Ryla is progressing. We're after the holidays, after Thanksgiving, we're going to switch to a weekly cadence for our meetings, where up until now we've been every 2 weeks. The schedule of speakers and the activities are shaping up nicely. We are moving along.
Awesome. Any other updates, Jen? You're good? All right, sounds good. So again, please, applications are available for Ryla as well. So make sure that you are sharing those applications for Ryla as well. Brian will, I'm sure, send the link to that soon as well, but it's rylahawaii.org. And then Junior Ryla, Joanne, any updates?
All of the student activity directors, middle school student activity directors got an application for their students that was able to connect with Tiffany Frias, and high school Ryla. Hopefully she will disseminate everything to activity directors. All you have to do is just email her what you want, and they meet once a month, so virtually. So those student activity directors are great ones to get the information to for applications. And Tiffany, I sent the Tiffany Frias's email address to Mary Albert. So if you need it, let me know. And so the junior RILA application is out. I've sent invitations to all 6th and 7th graders from last year to come back. And I've already gotten applications back in because we're giving a deal. The first 10 that respond get in a drawing for an iTunes gift card. So, you know, you always bribe them. It always works. And so and then all of you, I'm sending information to you and to all the school interact clubs, the advisors that we have information to. Applications are out and bring them in. There's no limit. And we do have 26 clubs that have paid the $100 contribution. And that is truly amazing. We could use the rest, but I'll do another respectful nagging at the beginning of December for the ones that haven't responded.
Thank you. And those applications for you, Joanna, are on the district's website, right?
Yes, I'll put the link in the chat.
Awesome. So we all have a little bit of different websites, but go to the district website for RILA, Junior RILA and HRYF, and go to rilahawaii.org for regular RILA. All right, we have Tom Gross on for a quick update on Rotary Youth Exchange. So thanks, Tom.
Well, thank you for having me. Rotary Youth Exchange, where are we at? We're right now, we have taken some applications. We have 3 very amazing sounding women or young women from HANA who would like to go out on exchange, including 2 sisters who are twins. So that should be entertaining all in itself. And we also have 2 previous students who were supposed to be going this year, and we would like to see if we can get them out on gap year. And for those who don't know, gap year is the year after graduation, before college, and it's an opportunity to for some students who want to take a year off from high school to do that. Right now, however, it is still up in the air. The powers that be at International are still deciding whether to move forward. I thought I was feeling pretty good about things until I've been reading more about what's going on in Europe and how big, how they're having another big surge there. But I'm hoping by June that'll have cleared and we'll have an opportunity to send students. They have a lot of students who want to come and see us. So in order to send students outbound, we have to have a commiserate number of inbounds, and there it lies one of the rubs. And so right now, Joanne Laird has been just fantastic, and she's been able to get 2 clubs. We unfortunately had 1 club, at least at this time, drop out, but we have 2 sponsor clubs. We really are going to need to have 5 sponsor clubs. Well, Poipu Beach will sponsor 1 inbound. We don't have an outbound from Kauai, but we always sponsor an inbound. And so we're looking for 2 more sponsors for inbound students. It's a great opportunity for the students in your local high school to get a chance to understand a new culture, the friends that are made. It's really amazing to me how many students have never been abroad. And so getting a chance to spend time with a student from Denmark or a student from Chile or wherever they may be from, it brings a lot of joy in those students' lives and brings them closer to Rotary. And so it's a very important program because getting those kind of opportunities are not easy. Plus, then we'll get a chance maybe to send an outbound from your club, and that will change somebody's life, because I will say that exchange does change lives. It's an amazing opportunity. So what I'm looking for, what I need, or what we need as Rotary Youth Exchanges, we need a couple of clubs who will be willing to sponsor an inbound student right now. one of the students who are the two outbounds right now, two outbounds that are the students, the gap year students who missed out on a chance to go. One is on Big Island and the other is on Oahu in Honolulu. An interesting young woman who is actually Japanese, has a Japanese passport, but she does have a green card, and her mom has a green card. And so she's that's an interesting case all in itself. Again, so we're looking for some help. Does anybody have any questions about what it takes from a club standpoint? Let me just say there is cost involved. There's about $1,500 for a year. I'm hoping to have a way to be able to help the clubs with some of that financial burden. It isn't for sure yet, but that's what I'm working towards. And I think we will have some opportunity to help the club with some of the financial burden. More importantly is finding host families. And that's really the big thing. We need to get 2 host families, if not 3. And there's some other little things like club, like some members of the club. One's got to be youth exchange officer. And the other one would be a counselor who would become more or less the advocate for the student while they're here in the US. Okay, anybody have any quick questions? Anybody done youth exchange? Anybody had a great experience with youth exchange? Please let me know.
I have had great experience on both sides of the youth exchange, having relatives who hosted youth exchange and being a youth exchange myself, not through Rotary, but through other youth exchange programs. So I'm a big fan. Question about the club sponsorship. Does the same club have to have all 4 elements of that sponsorship, the financial, the host family, the youth service chair, and the advocate? Or is that like, can clubs kind of group together and
they can't
financial and
yeah, good question. We've had clubs share. The key though is we don't want to have to move the student to a different high school. So it's a whole year. So that's the tricky part. But if you're next to a club, like we worked with Waimea High School, and we co-sponsored an exchange student where we shared the costs and the responsibilities with Waimea High School out on the west side, or excuse me, Waimea, they're the West Side Club, excuse me, because they were a small club, but they wanted to be involved. And then Poipu and I, we were able to do that. So yes, it can be done. It just means though that they have to be able to go to the same high school. And so that again, can be just the trickiest part of it. But otherwise, yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right, because I know, for example, a Rotary Club of Honolulu, we can do 3 of the 4. I'm not sure if I have someone who's willing to host, but I know we can do the dollars. I'm the youth service chair, and I know I've got someone who would be all over acting as an advocate for our club, but I don't know that I have a member of the club who's willing to
Now,
host.
we'll tell you something though. Host families do not have to be Rotary members. Not at all. All they have to do is be able to pass the vetting portion, which really says they have to have a space for the child, for the young student, for the student to live in. They have to feed them. That's probably and the State Department says you cannot help the parents or the host family with costs there. So they have to be well off enough to be able to afford to feed a teenager and get them to school on time and that kind of thing. And of course, pass any kind of background checks. Those are kind of the quick main things. You obviously want them. The idea is that the student becomes part of the family. They are Ohana, and that's how they're treated. It's not just a visitor. Okay, does that answer that? Okay, okay. All right, June? I can't hear you. Almost. Still, wait. Still can't hear you.
Waving to someone else.
Oh, waving to
Sorry.
somebody else. Okay, I didn't notice. You were looking at me. What can I say?
This is Alan Okinaga from Hilo Bay. I assume this is a year-long program for the youth exchange. What is
10
the
months,
approximate?
10 months. August to June.
Okay. What is the approximate cost for the sponsoring club?
Approximately $1,500. So what it is you're there's a stipend, and that is over the course of the year of $100 to the students, so they have a little pocket money. And then after that, maybe $500, maybe less. It just kind of depends on what. So I mean, the student's going to attend RILA. They're going to probably go to district conference, so then they need to get the district conference. So there might be a flight involved. And so that's kind of the expenses. So they don't have to be astronomical by any stretch, but that's kind of the cost for the club, generally speaking. Like I say, about $1,500, I think, usually. And sometimes the host parents will pick it up. Sometimes it just depends on who you've got going and who's willing to donate their time and effort.
You know, I think I should know this, but I've never asked the question, but who takes care of the medical insurance in case they get sick or injured?
Oh, absolutely. So medical insurance is provided by not Rotary per se. There's an insurance company that they are required to have insurance. It's a youth exchange coverage. So the host parents are not on the hook, although sometimes what ends up happening is that if some emergency comes up, like the student gets a knee in the nose, which happened to us, a knee in the nose, and our poor student broke his nose playing in a soccer game. Then you're going to take him to the hospital. They're going to ask for responsible. You say responsible, but the insurance company then will pay you. It sometimes takes a little bit of time, but not a whole lot. But it's covered. It's covered.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
This is more for public schools, right? The kids are going to attend a public school?
Correct. We can't afford a private school. The host parents are certainly expected to pay for private school, and the parents in Europe or South America or whatever are not responsible for paying for private school either. Now, if you've got some juice and you can convince a private school to take a student, that's fantastic, because it's really good for the private school too, I think. But it's tough time, so sometimes they won't do it. They do have exchange students who come through, but anyway, so that's how that works. So typically it's public school. It doesn't have to be, but it ends up being that way.
So Tom, Susan is at IPA, and so if IPA can give a scholarship, then it can happen?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If that, we have no problem with that whatsoever. Yeah, it's a great experience. I know the students, always have a great, it's so important for, I think, everybody involved, meaning the students who are with the kids and their friends and so on. And it's really heartwarming when I've seen all the different students who've come through. I've worked with now probably 40, 50 students over the 10, 12, 14 years I've been doing this. And their memories of the experience they've had with these students is just unreal. And lots of times they'll end up going and visiting them in the country they came from, and it's fantastic. So also it helps in the language classes sometimes.
All right, any other questions for Tom here?
Okay, so I think I'm going to just put in the chat here my email address. So if you want to, let me get here. I'm going to go and say send to everybody. I'm going to send my email address, and please let me know if this can work for your club. It's Poipu Club. We've been hosting students every single year for the past 20 years. And every one of these kids are just, it's amazing seeing how smart they are, how many doctors and dentists and things like that, but who still come from, I had one student who's now a doctor, and she came from a single mom family, and and she's now is now a pediatrician in Chile, and doing great work. So all these things come to, and all these kids know how much it means to them. So I do appreciate that. All right, here's the thing. Thank you very much. Sorry to take up so much time. Have a great rest of your meeting.
No problem. Thanks, Tom. And hopefully we can find some sponsors and host families here.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. It's 6:26. So we got about 4 minutes left. Last on the agenda is just we kind of already talked about the thank you first responders. We talked about some of the projects out there. Hopefully folks, if anybody has any project ideas they want to share or things they want to do, feel free to let me know, and I'm always here to help spread the word or try to coordinate some of these joint projects together. Right now, I don't have an update on the youth mentorship proposal or our Center for Tomorrow's Leaders partnerships, but we're still working with those organizations to, our youth mentorship is internally with Eco Club, and then our CTL partnerships with CTL, we're still working on trying to figure out what some of those joint projects may be coming up in the spring semester. But because Brian asked for a new business section of our agenda, I thought I would open it up for anyone that had any new business for youth service. Yes, Brian.
I mentioned, I don't know if it was last time or the time before, that I had this idea that I'd like to do some more district-wide type things. I was inspired by some stuff that I saw at one of the zone meetings. I had given a little bit more thought to the four-way test contest idea that I mentioned, and I want to sort of get a sense of whether or not there would be some excitement about building up such a thing. I have some ideas. So basically, individual clubs or groups of clubs would sponsor individual high school students for either an essay or a 3-minute speech around the four-way test, just sort of the standard way that we've done in the past, various clubs, and then have sort of like a regional and then a final round. And the Rotary Club of Honolulu, I have a budget for sponsoring our club's sponsorship speech contest. So I'm willing to sort of put that in service of a district-wide final setup, and kind of work with whoever is interested in helping me out come up with a structure for the whole thing. So I'm thinking something like an initial round of individual club activities on this done by the end of February, district round complete by April, with the final round in early May. So like the top 3 doing and it's all, I'm thinking we do the speech part by Zoom rather than having, physical participation for the obvious reasons, and it makes it easier for statewide type thing to work. So if anybody is interested, I'd love to hear yay or nay. I'm happy to be the champion, but I'd like to have an idea that some of the other folks around the district are willing to come along for this crazy ride.
So I see Dick waving his hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of our members, Barry Villamil, who's into media very strongly, is starting on this idea with Pro State High School. You definitely want him on your team, because he has a ton of creative ideas. It's unbelievable.
Thanks for the recommendation. Yeah.
Hey, Brian, I was part of that, the four-way test speech contest when I was over at Honolulu Rotary, and it was a success. And I still have all of my old notes and everything that we had, so we can put a structure together if you want. I can definitely pass that on to you. It was definitely a great thing to do, and it brought a lot of good awareness to the club and what Rotary is all about. So kudos to you folks for running that and keeping that going.
Yep. I have 2 years worth of materials myself from the before times. So I've got a good base to work from.
Okay, cool.
All right. So Ryan, I'll send you like a little write-up of something, and then you can distribute it out to the youth chairs.
Yeah, definitely. As I'm here to help all of you. I don't make any decisions. I just help you all make decisions. So I definitely support you, Brian, and I will spread the word. I think you'll get a lot of interest from other clubs. Definitely with the trying to build a competitive, but, friendly, competitive type of atmosphere where, we can have different rounds with different schools and different interact clubs. It's almost like a debate team, almost kind of thing. That'd be kind of cool. All of those things are great ideas. And then Sandy, could the winner speak at district conference, give their speech at district conference?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, what I wanted to share is the James Campbell Company actually has donated the Lani Kuhonua Phase 1 building there by the Aulani. And if on Friday, yeah, I know it's still a school day and I know it's a work day for some. If we wanted to dedicate that day for youth services programs, I think that would be an awesome opportunity to recognize like the award winners, and we could have a hybrid situation for those people who could not, for the students who could not come, but we could just make a really exciting event just to recognize and focus on youth services and the awards. So yeah, I would encourage you and hope that you folks would be interested in doing that. And we would just turn it over to you. Yeah, thanks.
That is a great opportunity. Lani Kohonua is a wonderful wedding venue. It's a huge area. It's beautiful. It would be a real event, like a real nice event. And it would take a big committee to plan it. So if anybody is interested to join said committee to help planning a youth event on Friday before district conference at Lani Kohonua, let me know, because Sandy and I would need a lot of help to pull this off. But with everyone's help here, it's definitely something I think we could do. What do you guys think in the last few minutes here? I see a thumbs up from Brian, but he was also involved in planning district conference from G70 last year, and that took a lot of effort in of itself. All right, we'll get another steering committee together. If you're interested, please email me or put it in the chat in the next 2 seconds or so to join a planning committee for a youth service district conference event the Friday before. It's hard to give up the donation of that area to us. So it's a real nice place. If we can pull something off, I think it would go a long way to recognizing our youth. So Sandy, any last words?
Last words. No, the energy is amazing. I just want to say mahalo again, everyone, because we're just really preparing our future leaders here. So Ryan, thank you, and to all of you, the whole team. Good
All
stuff
right.
coming out of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone, have a happy Thanksgiving. I will add the four-way tests to the next agenda. I will also add event planning for district conference to the agenda. Hopefully I get some takers in private to help plan an event, but we'll figure something out. All right. Thank you, everyone. That's it for tonight.
Great. Happy Thanksgiving.